Welcome to AI ConvoCast, where we bring you the latest in AI and tech innovation. Quick housekeeping. Check out the affiliate links in our description. Using them supports the show, and please don't forget to rate, review, and share if you like what you hear. Let's jump right in.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at something, well, pretty significant happening over at OpenAI.
Yeah, that $6.4 billion acquisition of IO, Jony Ive's hardware startup.
Exactly. It feels like more than just another tech deal. It could really signal where AI and our devices are heading. So let's try and unpack it.
Absolutely. It's a major move for an AI software leader to dive this deep into hardware.
And with Jony Ive, his track record at Apple, iPhone, iPod, iPad, you know the list. He started IO with some ex-Apple folks.
Right. And while his firm Love From stays independent, Ive himself is now leading design at OpenAI. That's huge.
So yeah, our mission today, break down the deal, figure out the strategy for both sides, explore this vision for AI devices, and look at the potential upsides and, frankly, the risks.
It's definitely an unusual pairing, a top AI company and a design legend teaming up to build actual things.
And the goal seems to be about creating something totally new, not just improving what we already have.
That's what makes it fascinating. They're talking about moving past current devices.
Okay, let's get into the nuts and bolts. $6.4 billion, all in OpenAI equity.
Which is their biggest acquisition ever, right?
Yeah.
About 2% of their, $300 billion valuation?
Something like that. And interestingly, OpenAI already owned about 23% of IO before this.
Oh, okay. So this wasn't completely out of the blue. They were already involved.
Seems like it. And around 55 IO employees are joining OpenAI as part of it.
The all-equity part is key, I think. It really ties the IO team's fate to OpenAI's future success.
Good point. So the big question, why? What's the strategic thinking here? For OpenAI, it looks like they feel limited by just software.
Right. They want to build new kinds of devices designed from the ground up for AI, more intuitive, more human.
Yeah, Sam Altman apparently said current devices feel decades old. They're looking for what comes next.
It makes sense. If you want the AI experience to be truly seamless, maybe you do need to control the hardware it runs on. You can optimize things in a way you just can't purely with software on someone else's device.
And Ive's role is obviously central, leading design across OpenAI and the IO team. Love From is still separate but collaborating closely.
His design philosophy, that focus on simplicity and integration, seems like exactly what they'd want for this kind of ambitious AI hardware. It signals they're serious about the user experience, not just the tech.
So what is this device they're imagining? The term floating around is AI-powered companion.
Distinct from a phone or a watch, the idea is using generative AI to, help us in new ways, inspire, empower, that sort of thing.
And they're aiming for first results in 2026. That's not that far off.
Perplexity had some details suggesting the first big product is this AI companion. But get this, screenless.
That's really
Yeah, pocketable, aware of its environment, focused on natural AI interaction, maybe less, head down in your phone disruption.
Altman called it totally new, potentially the coolest piece of technology. And they have a prototype already.
Apparently so. A screenless, environment-aware AI. That's a pretty radical departure from what we're used to. It suggests ambient interaction, maybe less visual.
Less social disruption is an interesting angle, too, thinking about how tech fits into our lives, not just what it does.
And it's not just one device, is it? They mentioned a family of devices long-term.
Right, maybe AI-driven computers, accessories, pushing beyond current laptops. But importantly, not starting with phones or watches.
Which sounds smart. Don't go head-to-head with Apple and Google on their home turf immediately. Create a new category instead.
Makes sense. If you look at other huge tech deals like Dell buying EMSB or AMD getting Z-Links, they were often about consolidating existing markets.
This feels different. It's smaller than those mega deals, perhaps, but the intent creating a whole new product category is what makes it stand out.
It definitely taps into that trend of AI companies wanting more control over the hardware to shape the user experience.
Owning the whole stack, software and hardware, gives you advantages. Optimization, tighter integration, maybe even stronger user loyalty if you get it right.
Of course, it's a massive undertaking. There are definite risks for OpenAI here.
Oh, absolutely. First off, IO,
Yeah.
they haven't actually shipped anything or made any money yet, right?
Nope. So it's a $6.4 billion bet purely on future potential. That's high stakes.
And then there's just the challenge of making it work. Integrating Ive's design approach with complex AI. That's not easy.
Plus, will people even want this? A completely new type of device? Market acceptance is a huge question mark.
It really is. You have to convince people they need something they've never had before.
Yeah.
That takes more than just cool tech. You need a clear reason why.
And that $6.4 billion valuation hangs over it all. If these products don't take off, well, that's a lot of equity.
Not to mention the competition. Apple, Google, Meta, they have enormous resources, established ecosystems, loyal customers.
And moving into hardware brings a whole new level of scrutiny, doesn't it? Data, privacy, security, regulations.
Yep, consumer hardware is a different ballgame. Ethical considerations become much more direct.
You also wonder about the Microsoft partnership. Could this cause friction?
It's possible. Microsoft has its own hardware plans. Maybe this introduces some strategic divergence. It's something to watch.
And let's be honest, the history of tech is littered with ambitious hardware projects that just didn't make it. There's a reputational risk, too.
For sure. The hardware is hard. Cliché exists for a reason.
Yeah.
Execution is incredibly challenging.
So what's the general vibe out there? How's the industry reacting?
It seems like a mix. There's definitely real excitement. People are intrigued by the idea of OpenAI's AI meeting Ive's design. Groundbreaking potential.
You can see why it sounds exciting.
Yeah.
A possible leap in how we interact with tech personally.
It's a compelling story, no doubt. That combination of AI power and legendary design, it captures the imagination.
But there's always a but.
Right. There's also significant skepticism. That price tag, $6.4 billion for a pre-product company, raises a lot of eyebrows.
People are wondering if it can possibly live up to the hype and the valuation.
And they're looking at the competitive angle. Is this OpenAI making a direct play against Apple's user experience dominance in the long run?
So it's this blend then, hope and hype mixed with caution about the price and the execution challenges. We've seen quotes saying it could be groundbreaking, but also others questioning the cost.
Exactly. The valuation skepticism is real. A deal this size for a company with no revenue needs a very clear path to generating massive value, and it's not obvious yet. And yeah, everyone's trying to figure out how this shakes up the competitive landscape.
If we drill down into the main criticisms from analysts, what are the key themes?
Well, number one is probably overvaluation. Just paying too much for potential, with the risk it never materializes.
Okay, what else?
Product market fit. Is there actually a need or strong desire for this AI companion category they're trying to create? That's a big unknown.
Integration challenges, too. Merging OpenAI's software culture with Ive's hardware design focus.
Yeah, potential culture clash or just the practical difficulties of making those two worlds mesh perfectly. Then there's strategic focus. Is OpenAI spreading itself too thin, moving away from its core AI strength?
Distraction risk.
Kind of. And finally, just pure execution risk. Building, manufacturing, marketing, distributing a successful consumer device is incredibly hard, especially against entrenched giants.
All valid points. They highlight just how big a swing this is.
Definitely. Any large acquisition has risks, but one, entering a new market, trying to invent a new category, the hurdles are just higher, especially in consumer hardware.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. OpenAI makes a huge, expensive acquisition, Jony Ive's IO.
The bold move into hardware, driven by a vision for a new kind of AI companion device, something different from phones and watches.
Massive potential for innovation, bringing top-tier AI and design together.
But also facing major risks. The high price, the challenge of convincing consumers, the difficulty of execution, and fierce competition.
It really feels like a defining bet for OpenAI on how we'll interact with AI in the future. They're banking on this synergy between their AI and Ive's design, creating something revolutionary.
It's a high-stakes gamble for sure.
So here's something to think about. What could a screenless, AI-aware device actually offer you that your phone doesn't already? What kind of fundamental change in how we relate to technology are they really aiming for here? And what's the biggest hurdle they face in convincing us, the users, that this new way is actually better?
Lots to consider. It'll be fascinating to watch unfold.
Indeed it will. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Thank you for listening to AI Convo Cast. Please don't forget to rate, review, and share if you like what you hear. Thanks and hope to see you again next time.